Welcome back to Out and About Today. I'm Brent Meredith. With ever-increasing frequency, we've seen attacks and legislation targeting trans members of our community. Here with me now is one local attorney and straight ally committed to showing his support by offering free help to those wanting to change their legal name. Join me now in welcoming Joe Kwon to the show. We're so glad to have you with us tonight, Joe. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor, and I'm just really excited to be supporting.
Well, and we're grateful for that. And I want to make sure I start out with a little bit of your background. So just tell us a little bit maybe how you ended up on the show with us here tonight. How did your journey get you here with us tonight?
Yeah, so when I graduated law school in 2016, I wanted to go into public policy. So I worked around immigrant and refugee rights for a little bit at a nonprofit here in town. And I started my own practice in 2018. And since then, I've had a number of clients from all different diverse backgrounds, as my practice has always been focused in representing underprivileged and underrepresented communities. And recently, in the past couple months, I've had quite a few clients come to me from the LGBTQ plus community, and they've had a various kind of running the gamut of legal issues that I've never really considered from their perspective. And it really opened my eyes. So I wanted to support them, and I wanted to do something to support the communities. And that led me to here.
Well, and we thank you very much. I mean, it's just nice. Straight allies and allies in general are very important to have in any fight for equality. And I want to make sure, we talked a little bit before this interview, we were just chatting on the phone about your life experiences and getting to know one another a little bit. And you told me a story that I found interesting when I asked you about sort of, the way you present to the world and maybe challenges that you have seen. And I think sometimes that certainly helps people be more empathetic for others if they themselves have had an issue or a misunderstanding or a misrepresentation. And I was curious, would you mind sharing a little bit of that story with our viewers tonight too?
No, not at all. And I think this is such a timely conversation as well, with all the rise in anti-Asian hate in the country and whatnot. So when I first got my law license, and it was in September of 2018, and I opened my doors the very next day, and my first time in court as a private attorney, I walked into the courtroom in, I'm not going to say the county, but I walked into the courtroom in a rural county in Tennessee. And it was a small courtroom, and there's the bar that separates where the lawyers are supposed to sit from the public gallery. And I, introduced myself, walked past the bar and sat down. And of course, I was the only person of color, only minority really, on that side of the bar. And I was sitting there with all these other attorneys, they're kind of staring at me, not really saying anything. And finally, an older gentleman came up to me and asked me if I was supposed to be there. And so I told him, yeah, I just got my law license, and I'm here to kind of observe court and get the lay of the land and hopefully take some appointed cases. And first thing he says to me is that, oh, wow, yeah, you speak real good English. And I was surprised. So I just kind of brushed it off, and I went about, just kind of making small talk and trying to be okay. And finally, the court started, and the court was in session, and the judge was calling the docket, and he went through the list, and he saw that, I was in the room. So he kind of called me up to the podium to introduce myself and see what I was doing. And I told him that I was a new attorney who was hoping to get some appointed cases. And he told me the same thing, actually. He said, hey, you speak real good English. And he asked me where I was from. So I told him I grew up in Nashville. And it was kind of an interesting exchange. And that really opened my eyes to how there's some commonalities in, when you're different and your experiences are really translatable to other communities. And I took that to heart. And yeah, it's been very very rewarding to support different communities.
Yeah. Well, and as we were saying in the earlier in the show, as Pam and Chuck and I were talking about how that having that representation, that might have been the first time that they had someone that looked like you in their courtroom. So maybe then, the next time, maybe it wouldn't be that way. So just being present oftentimes is such an important part of that. But I want to make sure we've got plenty of time to talk about the promotion. So we've got 2 minutes left. I'm hearing about the legal name change that you're sponsoring for transgender members of the community. Can you tell us sort of how that's going to work or how that would work?
Yeah, absolutely. So in support of the Transgender Day of Visibility coming up on March 31st, I'm offering free or discounted legal name change representation for anybody that just wants to get that done. I've noticed that the legal name change process, it's often a very simple process, but when you're a underrepresented community, when you're transgender, it may be complicated or uncomfortable going through that alone. So I just wanted to offer my support for that. So the first 5 clients that want to reach out, they're going to be completely pro bono, free representation. And anybody after that reaches out throughout the month of April, it will be 50% off my normal fees. And yeah, I'm happy to just talk to anyone and just offer help first. So there's no charge for consultations or anything like that. And if I can't help with something, even if it's not a legal name change, I'm happy to do whatever I can to support the community.
That is fantastic. And just so I want to make sure that our viewers understand, this is in honor of Transgender Day of Remembrance, which is happening at the end of March. But you're offering this promo through the month of April. But it's again for the first 5 folks who reach out to you, the free name change, and then after that, you'll work with them in a different way. Am I understanding that right?
Yes. First 5 are completely pro bono, free, and then 50% off my normal fees for all other clients.
Well, I hate to interrupt you, Joseph, but I want to make sure you quickly say how people can reach out to you, because we're going to have to go to break here in about 10 seconds. So just give everyone a quick rundown of how they can reach you.
Reach me at my website, www.joekwonlaw.com. That's JoeKwonlaw.com.
So joekwon.law, a quick Google search, and you can find Joe, and he can help you with the legal name change. That's a wonderful program. Thank you, Joseph, for being here and for doing that. We really do appreciate it. And we've got an exciting first look at this year's inaugural Franklin Pride after the break. You won't want to miss it. Stay with us.